Pictures rule. From the earliest recorded history of successful hunts on cave walls, we know that human beings are wired to receive visual imagery. Let's talk about the physiology. You have over 1 million receptors that connect your eyes to your brain, versus the 30,000 that connect the audio signal. Half of your brain is devoted to visual processing, versus the 8% for audio. And in fact, cognitive scientists tell us that the back of the retina has cells that act a bit like brain cells when they receive and pre-process images before passing the information directly on to the brain. The brain loves images. A quick example. You can recognize the concept of a tree from a drawing versus the word tree 60,000 times faster. One last thing about the brain and images. There are 2 channels that the brain takes in information and can take it in simultaneously. Verbal, which is written and spoken words, and the visual channel. And any time you can recall a PowerPoint slide that was loaded with words that you tried to read while someone spoke over the top of it, you'll know about that cognitive dissonance. So let's talk about pictures and retention. 72 hours after you're presented with new information, you can remember 65% of it if it's associated with an image, versus the 10% you can retain from the written or spoken word. In fact, people remember 90% of a series of images up to a year later. Pictures rule for communication. Imagine trying to describe a big, gray, long-nosed, floppy-eared, larger-than-human animal versus simply drawing it. Or think about what a traffic circle might actually look like if it were designed using a white paper. And finally, images do something for us that's a kind of a surprise in that they break our thinking habit and often allow us to connect ideas in new ways. A really good example of that is the Southwest Airlines napkin sketch. This is a business idea simply drawn on a small square of paper. It's a multi-million-dollar corporation. Another place that pictures absolutely rule is for collaboration. Get a bunch of experts in a room with their own language, their own research, their own jargon. How do you get them to be able to communicate together? Or imagine trying to design a component of a system. How do we know how that component will interact with the entire system? And now let's create a visual record for the decisions that were made in that meeting.